Should I turn off that Cindy thing? Can you hear that?
Yeah, maybe.
Probably your mic can't.
Fountain Square is a neighborhood in Indianapolis, Indiana that has undergone tremendous growth in recent years. I believe one of the things that brought attention and interest to the area are the artists and musicians who moved here before these developments began. As new businesses move into the neighborhood, longtime staples close, and rents begin to climb. The future for the creative people who made Fountain Square an exciting place to be looks uncertain. My name is David Adamson. Some people call me Moose. I've been an active member of the Indianapolis music scene for the past 10 years or so. In this video, I wanted to talk to some of my friends who are involved in the music and art community in the Fountain Square neighborhood about how that neighborhood has changed over the past decade, what creative people bring to a neighborhood, and what the future of Fountain Square looks like. I met Lisa at local concerts, and we later played in the band Jukebox together. She's now a member of General Public Collective, a collaborative arts gallery and shop right on Virginia Avenue. Jim is the executive director of Big Car, which began as an art gallery in the Murphy Building and has grown into an art-driven community development organization. Big Car is no longer headquartered in Fountain Square, but is getting ready to open 2 new spaces a little further south along the Shelby Street corridor. I collaborate on musical projects with Oreo and sometimes play in his live backing band. Last year, he organized and curated the Treese Hip Hop and Rap Oriented Music Festival. Treese completely sold out of tickets and offered an entire day's worth of live shows at 5 different venues in Fountain Square. Carl has released some of my music on his independent label, Joyful Noise Recordings, which has grown from a one-man operation into a record store, venue space, office, and fulfillment arm occupying several rooms at the Murphy Building and a warehouse at the Circle City Industrial Complex. Jake is a musician and artist who has lived in the well-known house at 945 East Morris Street for several years. He is constantly working on new music and taking his vision into new areas. From 2011 to 2013, he organized and curated the Cataracts Music Festival, which took place in 4 houses along Morris Street its first 2 years, and then moved to Garfield Park in 2013.
The Fountain Square neighborhood over the past 10 years or so.
When I moved here, it was very cheap rent. Some places still are, but there were a lot of closed up shops and not a lot of business.
I feel like I was introduced to Fountain Square in like 2010 to Morris Street. I remember the first time going over there and practicing with Jukebox, and that was the first time I felt like, whoa, there's actually like an underground community of artists like me that are creating, and they all live next door to each other. And there's just a whole bunch of kids coming in and out, you know, and just jamming everywhere. I swear there was like 2 or 3 like bands all practicing that one day.
Fountain Square, there was a bunch of empty space and a lot of freedom and opportunity, and you know, and people were kind of getting together and trying stuff, and then it ended up working out to be really positive for the people who owned the property and who came in and invested at the right time, but none of us had any money.
A lot of musicians and artists and friends of mine moved in together, and you'd have people kind of coming and going on the couches. So that meant there was always a party, or there was always like at least people sort of codependently collecting enough for beer or cigarettes or food or whatever. Always somebody to hang out with because not everybody had work, and always something going on. Like if you wanted to put on a show or you wanted to start a garden in your yard, there were always hands around to do that.
I feel like since then to now, it's changed so much, just like that.
All of a sudden it became that kind of overnight.
How has the creative community in Fountain Square changed or contributed to the neighborhood over the past 10 years or so?
Oh, geez. From what I've noticed since we've been here, it's been the major catalyst and why this place is as popular as it is, aside from the restaurant industry.
The creative community has contributed 100% of the growth of Fountain Square.
City leaders all around the country want that kind of stuff. They want these kind of vibrant neighborhoods that come from that kind of resident and from those activities. So I think that people are convinced that it's true. I think they don't know how to harness it, and they don't know how to organize it. So it's that's the biggest challenge. Like, okay, we want artists, we want musicians. All right, how do we make that happen in an organic way? You can't really force it. Like, you can't create a music district. Like, you can't say, over here, this is the music district. And come on, let's start having music here. It's got to be the right fit, and people have to want to do it, and then it'll work out. And when we were in Murphy, I always felt like the musicians and the art galleries and stuff were sort of like the band in the corner at the restaurant. The restaurant's making all the money on selling, or in a bar, they're making all the money off selling food and drink, and then they'll give you your $50 or the whatever. And but for all of us, we weren't even getting the $50. We were paying to do that, and so we were the entertainment. So people come down, go to the galleries, go see some music in the space, not probably pay anything, not buy any art, and then go downstairs or go around the neighborhood and then spend their money in those other places. And I don't know that the restaurants and the bars thought, well, okay, we need to make sure these guys don't go away because they're the draw.
I hope that it still holds on to what little is left. My biggest fear is that it's just going to be bars and restaurants.
Do you think you're going to stay here for the foreseeable future, or what are your future plans
Uh,
as far as the neighborhood goes or something?
Man, well, as you can see, I'm kind of bunkered in to this house in particular.
One thing to do is to make it so that it's almost like a land trust for cultural locations. So they're kind of preserved to stay that way. So I think maybe the only solution is to sort of try to preserve those eclectic things, and for the other people who are benefiting from them to say, I'm going to invest in you so you stick around. So like a thing like GPC, if Fountain Square was smart, they'd be paying their rent. Not just saying, thanks for being here, GPC. We really appreciate you a lot. Good luck. You got to keep that thing there.
To me, like, it's just been building relationships and like maintaining the good relationships that we have with people that are here. I feel like we're actually really lucky in the fact that like Craig does understand our cultural value to this building. At least in our case, like, we do get a kind of a pass for like, maybe someone else is willing to pay more rent, but we contribute more culturally.
Ultimately, creative people will do what they have to do to continue to do what they're passionate about. I don't get the impression that anyone in this video is whining or blaming bars and restaurants, and some of them work at those places. But it is in the best interest of these businesses to make sure these people are still making Fountain Square an exciting place to be.
So silly, nigga from the middle of the map so illy. Popping $10 champagne for the whole team, cause we living out a marvelous dream. Nigga engine that could, I'm blowing out steam at the Morse Family Dollar, nigga counting on my cream.